Hello, everybody. Welcome into Ghost Racing Network here for Tuesday Night Thunder over at RMR Money Racing. Going to be another great one tonight. We're back at the trucks. You know, we switched to the Xfinity last week. Things didn't work out too well, so here we are back in the Craftsman Truck Series. Joining me in the booth again tonight, we've seen him for, I would say, most of the season so far. Dawson Wise. Dawson, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling pretty good. I was expecting Xfinity cars, but we've been blessed with trucks, so hopefully we have a good one at Talladega, and it's my understanding we're going back to these long term. So hope everybody likes truck racing.
I'll tell you what caught me just as off guard as it caught you. So go ahead and ignore where it says NASCAR Xfinity Series here for your race info. That's the one thing that hasn't got updated yet, as we just learned the info here late in the going. It is still 60 laps, though, tonight. Everybody's going to have 100% fuel, unlimited tires as always. One fast repair, fixed setups, and there is going to be that ever crucial stage on lap 20 that usually gives some extra points out. 2.65 miles in length is Talladega Superspeedway. Starting track temp tonight, very cool, 78 degrees, 70 degrees outside as well, 9% humidity. Overcast skies and winds at 2 miles an hour. That should not be a problem for anybody. Smaller field tonight, but nonetheless, leading us to green is going to be Ken McCall Jr. from McCall Motorsports. Sean Hill for NBG is going to start to his outside in second. Matthew Baker and Andrew Navarro make up row 2. Going to be John Ellis Jr., Jason Maines, the teammates, rounding out row 3. Matt Lee starts 7th. Cody Nagels in 8th. Had a big championship win over an NSRA just a few nights ago. He'd like to back it up here tonight. Gabe Butler starts 9th. And the Coca-Cola Series driver, Garrett Maines, rounding out your top 10.
The last of the NBG trucks rolls from 11th. That's Jeff Merck. Next to him, McCullough Motorsports' David Sheets. Row number 7 will be Chris Blanchard and John Mullahan. Row number 8 will be Chris McCullough and Ryan Baste. Row number 9 will be Danny Barnes and Mark Vondell. Around the top 20, Mike Davenport and David Drohan.
Moving on back to 21st is going to be Brandon Broadfoot. Daniel Eberhardt starts in 22nd. Dylan Jones will start 23rd, one of the Maines boys, and Brock Westmoreland going to round us out tonight for our 24 truck field. So as we talked about, definitely a smaller field, but I think the racing's going to be good. Definitely has been the last couple weeks. We just need some things to get cleaned up. But hey, before we even got the race started, how about Richard Elliott dropping the $10 super chat donation, getting us fired up early before we even drop the green? And you know what that means? It's going to make us a little bit more excited up here in the booth, Dawson. Maybe I shouldn't say more excited, but it'll get us excited a lot quicker here. But hey, thank you so much for the super chat, Richard. We appreciate you out here watching tonight. And one of the guys repping the Ghost merch, we saw him in the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series. All right, here we go. Again, 60 laps, 20 laps for this first stage. So that's going to be the first race. No point in worrying about the other 40 until we get through this first one. But we'll see how clean, how aggressive everybody is willing to be here. Off the start, pace car is going to pull off. McCall and Hill making up row 1. There's Baker and Navarro, row 2. The 21 on the bottom. Looking at paint scheme for John Ellis Jr. New one. Green flag is in the air. We are racing at Talladega. Lap 1 is going to go to the outside line. Andrew Navarro steals it away from Alex Hill, who sits on the bottom right now in the 77 truck. A lot of 2x2 organization here off the start. Couple trucks with different schemes tonight. Looks like Garrett has returned to the 31 ChevyLiners.com MCU paint scheme. And then John Ellis Jr., who we were just talking about, we got to zoom in on this thing a little bit more. I'm telling you, this is a beautiful paint scheme that John has gotten done here. Looks like it's a SimSeat sponsor. That might be kind of based off of his old scheme Garrett had, from what I'm hearing here. But so far, the field looking really calm. Dawson, not too much for us to talk about up at this point. Going to be some storylines that develop. But I think, you know, maybe it's going to take us a little bit for guys to realize that we're not in the Xfinity Series again. The amount of netcode that there was last week, guys had to be a little bit more cautious with the moves they make. But here's a move from NBG, 3 of the teammates jumping up top.
No surprise. I mean, at this point, are we really going to be surprised when MBG's the first to move? I mean, with a cold track tonight, it's going to be really, really easy for them to just hang around the top line and be annoying. And I think that's exactly what they're going to try to do here with their teammates on the bottom, is kind of hold the middle line up, get their teammates a chance to control the lines. Obviously, we've seen Alex Hill go top to bottom, back to the top, back to the bottom to manage temps a few times. But no surprise, they've got actually some help from one of the McCullough Motorsports trucks a little further back. Oh, well, they did, and they bail on them now. Now they are hooked up, so watch for those guys. Meanwhile, up front, Alex Hill in front of Andrew Navarro.
And here we go. Going to start the blocking early here. Remember, you can block a lot more aggressive in these trucks than anywhere else. Man, Cody's feeling good. He's going to go ahead and split. Jason Main's taking 4 wide right off the get-go. Matt Lee's going to follow. Garrett Main says not so fast. He's going to jump up to try to help his teammate. John Ellis Jr. is going to follow. Mains is able to find a spot, though, so that puts him back to 3x3. And, you know, the nicest way to put it, Dawson, we were in NBG pre-race. Those guys are having a really good time tonight. Let's just put it that way. So you know they're going to be out here having some fun, trying to go for the most amount of money that they can get. But I'm surprised at the momentum that the middle lane is making work right now. You see the 42 Navarro dart to the inside. Usually when we see the cooler track temp on the trucks, even as they push, I thought it'd be hard to get any of the outside lines going. I figured the bottom being the shorter distance. Oh my goodness, did Sean Hill have a big moment right there. He catches it further out back, though. We got one off. Mike Davenport coming back up into traffic. He is going to clip, looks like the 4 truck of David Drohan before sliding back up on track. No caution yet. Looks like it was 2 trucks. Nobody hit anything. We'll see if we stay green. That looked like a mess. How are they looking up front, Dawson?
Some really intense side drafting as Hill has picked up his teammates in the top line. They're looking to rim riot around these guys, but Garrett Mains has other plans. He goes to the race lead in front of his teammate John Ellis Jr. As they got back to the front, he saw him kind of get hung out trying to pick up Jason, and the caution is out on the racetrack.
And I think this is going to be for that issue that was further back. I think it may have been a caution thrown manually after iRacing did not throw it, because we ended up having 3 trucks spun out. I saw Dylan Jones end up going around here a little bit later in this wreck, but let's back it up to where it's all going to start. Sean Hill, you could see that he was trying a couple adventurous blocks here early, and eventually I think one's not going to work out too well for him here, but he saves it. Either way, let's take a look at which one it's going to be here. There's Andrew Navarro on the bottom. No, it has nothing to do with the block. Ken McCall Jr. is pushing the 42. He gets a little bit up the track. They're running really close together. Once Navarro gets into Hill, they both wash up the track, and then further back is where we're going to see the wreck involving Davenport, Jones, and Drohan. And is this just going to be a stack up from that? Yeah, it looks like it might be. Brandon Broadfoot was trying to pull high. They might have checked up just a little bit. He clips the back bumper of David Sheets, gets him in the right rear. That sends David down into Davenport. This is where Davenport goes for a spin. He tries to hold on, slightly overcorrects. Back up into Drohan he goes. Ford goes for a slide. He's going to come to a stop. And Dylan Jones, what happens to the 11 truck? He spins entering the trouble. This had to be contact from somebody else. And yeah, him and Mullahan got around the wreck, but they're making some contact, and Dylan gets down into the grass, spins it around, and that was indeed what finally brought the caution out. Take one more view of it from the spotter stand. You know, Dawson, when we see checkups like that, it's just so hard if you're in the back. You can't really see what's going on. You try to make that evasive maneuver real quick, and nothing that anybody really did wrong. And when it's a wreck like that, you like to see nobody have damage. And in this case, I think all 3 trucks are going to be fine to keep going.
Yeah, luckily, it seems like nobody gets out of that with really too much of a scar on their truck. Just kind of one of those deals. And being in the trucks, you're right. The checkups, the way you have to push and being right on the back of somebody, sometimes it catches you off guard. It's caught me off guard a number of times since the update. So just kind of one of those things that we see sometimes. Unfortunate for Dylan Jones, Sean Mullahan, and Mike Davenport, but luckily for them, they do get the caution that they need to catch right back up.
So the season here for Tuesday Night Thunder is slowly starting to kind of come to a close. Of course, there's no real playoffs in a sense. The top 16 guys will advance to that championship race, where they will race it out for the big purse. And then, of course, we will have a season champion based off of points. But looking at the tracks that we're going to finish off the season, we were at Talladega tonight. We're going to head back to Talladega for the 3rd week in a row next week before we go to Daytona. Then it's back to Talladega for a double points night to round off the month of August. After that, September 5th, mark down your calendar, championship race at Talladega. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, we remember it. If you're watching last season, there was a lot of money on the line. I believe your season champion, just for points, went home with $500, and then the championship purse for the championship race was, it had to be close to, if not over, $2,000. I mean, it was absurd, Dawson. And the fact that, these guys are still getting payouts each week tells you just how much they must be enjoying the series. I mean, we've been having 20, 25-ish or more consistently week in and week out. Got to wonder if the Switch Series has changed anything. I think a lot of guys were excited about the Xfinity cars last week. Just didn't work out too well. A lot of net code, a lot of issues. Guys maybe not quite ready for them. And at the same time, the cars maybe not quite as good as they need to be yet. iRacing needs to make a couple updates, probably before we're going to head back to that series.
Yeah, I can't wait, though. I love those cars. I said it last week, I'm pretty sure, and I said it again when we were running NSRA the other night, and in the finale we ran the Xfinity cars. I love them. I love the package on them. It's just they need to make some updates to make them a little bit more viable. Just with the netcode right now, like you said, it's if you side draft wrong, it happened to me in the NSRA race on Sunday night as I got hooked in the wall on the last lap. It's just kind of one of those things where a guy got too close to me, and all of a sudden we got sideways. So before we go back to that, we need to fix it. But once we do, man, I'm going to be really excited. I love those cars.
Speaking of that NSRA race, boy, you guys were having a heck of a run there. And, of course, your teammate Cody Nagels secured the championship in what was easily the most thrilling call of the last two laps that I think me and Matthew Baker have ever done together. And then what was probably one of the thrilling last laps to watch ever that I've just seen in general. Couldn't believe that Cody was able to make the comeback from as far back as he started in just 2 laps to secure the championship, passing 2 of the contenders in those last couple laps. But speaking of Cody Nagels, he's going to be starting third on this restart. Garrett Maines and Alex Hill going to be making it up row 1. And then you go back here, you'll find John Ellis Jr. in 4th. Matt Lee rounding out your top 5. Ken McCall Jr. rounding out your top 5. Matt Lee 6th. Looks like Matthew Baker going to be, Christopher McCall 7th, Matthew Baker in 8th. And there's Gabe Butler. This is one of those series where I think it works out for Gabe a little bit more in the sense of not having teammates, right? I mean, you think about it, there's still payouts each week, and the teammates can be crucial for when we get towards the end of the race. But, even by yourself at super speedways, as long as you're pretty consistent, you can still get those good points night, and that's what's important if you're trying to get the big payday at the end of the season.
Well, and Gabe Butler is Mr. Consistent. I mean, he's easily one of the most consistent drivers that I've raced with on Super Speedway. You can always count on him to run well, whether that's as the lead truck or the pushing truck, but especially as the pushing truck. He's a great ally to have if you can get on his good side and kind of make an alliance with him. He's definitely a huge piece, and he's always going to find a way to the front.
We enjoy everybody out here watching tonight. Looks like we already have. Looks like Larry B might be in here. Of course, Richard Elliott, we know he's in here. Started us off with the $10 super chat because move himself up on the super chat leaderboard. Donalda Adams says, good luck, NBG. Bear Palm, Andrew Zotto in here watching. Devin Ray. How about Kevin Nagels, Baker's Mom, and David Overstreet? All a good little crew out here early. Going to put us here at 12 laps to go in the stage. No pit stops expected before then. Actually, maybe at the end, Dawson. We saw this last week in the Xfinity cars. I don't know if it's as viable in the trucks because you can't make that whole second round on just a tank of fuel. But it'd be interesting to see if on the last lap or maybe coming to the last lap, anybody decides to pit. Either way, green flag is back in the air for Alex Hill and Garrett Maines.
Pretty even restart as Garrett Maines actually got a really good jump, but the problem is his help didn't come to him. Cody Nagels was a little bit lacking on that restart, which is odd from him. Now the bottom gets hooked up. Garrett Maines will go to the point just briefly. Everybody lockstep 2 by 2. Navarro, the first one to move 3 wide. Vondell shuts the door, but Navarro goes higher, and he's the first one to go 3 wide on the back straightaway. Meanwhile, up front still 5, 6 rows of 2 by 2. It's about a 12 truck, no, maybe 10 truck breakaway up front. Still Maines and Hill, no surprise here. Teammates split up between rows, so this is really interesting. Ellis pushing Hill, Nagels pushing Maines. So kind of weird, but the NBG trucks, look out. They are behind Ellis. Don't look in the mirror, John. You've got NBG lined up behind you further back. Brandon Broadfoot coming towards the front.
And I was going to say, we saw Gabe Butler jump up to the outside line as we were getting ready to enter turn 3. I think him and Ryan Baste are both setting themselves up for that 3-wide move here. See him sitting back a couple truck lengths. They see the run coming from the third lane. Danny Barnes might have wanted to be a part of that. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to jump up in time. So watch for the 88 to jump to the outside. Oh, big stack up. Some contact even there between the 77 and the 03, the ex-teammates. That was just a lot of push and getting a little hairy on the exit of 2. Everybody able to hang on, though, and now Cody Nagels leading the bottom. Garrett Maines leading the top. This time when we hit the line, it's going to be 10 laps to go in stage 1.
Still could get really interesting as those 3 NBG trucks are still pretty much lined up. They've got Ellis in between them, but now they've got Gabe Butler there as well. He will not hesitate to make a 3-wide move, so be ready if the 77, 04, 5, and 88 decide to jump out. Meanwhile, though, Nagel's getting a huge shot from Kenny McCullough. They're able to hold the bottom pretty well. The bottom is holding even. We talked about the track temp. A little further back, Navarro and Jeff Merck have some help. Jason Maines has come to them. They are going to try to make something work on the outside. For now, though, it is tough to make up some ground. Here we go. Based and Barnes to the third lane a little further back.
2 McCalls on the bottom, but they're trapped right now behind Cody, and I don't think Cody thinks about moving up even if he gets clear. We'll have to see what he decides to do, and how long can everybody's temps last? Garrett's going to drop back down to the bottom. That's going to give Ken McCall Jr. a chance to breathe. Now third on the inside. Matt Lee and Matthew Baker, maybe even Gabe Butler. I think those 3 trucks will be the first 3. Daniel Eberhard even, that when they jump up, that's really when you're going to see that third line get some momentum going. But it's all about the mind game, right? Who jumps up first? You know, if one of the NBG teammates do, the other ones will. But actually, Ryan Baste, he's going to try to go up first. We keep seeing a couple guys venture out to try that third line first. They're not able to make enough momentum. As just there ends up not being really enough trucks, and it's looking like that may happen again here as Baste and Barnes, they're getting strung out right now, and they're going to get set to the back if nobody else jumps out. But now it looks like Matthew Baker and Matt Lee are. So I take that statement back. There goes Gabe Butler, 3 wide down the Talladega backstretch.
Interestingly, Alex Hill stays in line behind the 31 of Garrett Maines, so he's going to let his teammates go do the work themselves. It actually might be a smart move. Don't want to hook up those Maines teammates in the middle. That would be Ellis and Maines. So interesting moves by NBG. Some chess being played as Hill stays second in line to keep them apart. Actually, he can now manage that middle lane a little bit if he wants to by laying off of Garrett and maybe giving the outside a little bit of momentum. That's exactly what he's done. New leader at the line, Matt Lee in the 04.
Yeah, Garrett Maines has to feel like he's at a pretty big disadvantage right now in the sense that now he's going to feel better. Take it back because John Ellis Jr. makes that move to the bottom as I think Ken may have been getting a little hot. And, of course, Chris jumped up to the middle. That really hurt that inside line. Ooh, a lot of beating and banging going on here. Can't everybody save it? We got a bunch of trucks down to the apron. Looked like Sean Hill and Garrett Maines started to bottle up a little bit. Garrett got sent down to the bottom. And somehow they all save it again, but you can tell it's starting to turn into a disaster just waiting to happen. Look how aggressive everybody's side drafting here. Still only in the first stage with only 1 faster pair. I would say simmer down, fellas, but they know that those extra points are very important that are on the line. And Garrett could have dropped, well, he could have dropped them when he had John Ellis Jr. there, but after John got shuffled back, he's right back to the same position. And hold your horses here, Dawson. We're going to go 4 wide into turn 1.
Yeah, just briefly 4 wide there as Baste and Barnes kind of got caught out against the wall. We solved it somehow. I'm not sure how over the last lap we didn't have any kind of big incident. Kenny McCullough actually is a big loser out of that. He lost a ton of spots. He's back outside the top 15 all of a sudden. But up front, it's a lot of shuffling. Now NBG teammates on the bottom. Maines and D3 up top. Andrew Navarro's back to the front. Same with Jeff Merck. Nagels, Baker, Butler. Nope, not going to work for him, I don't think. I will note really quickly, the track temp had started to go up. The sun had come out off of turn number 4. I think it has gone back behind the clouds, but it is a bit dynamic with the track temp tonight. It's not going to be the same all night, so third lane could change a little bit as the night goes on. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it had been cooling down all the way up to green flag. You see right now being shown at 80 degrees. Just a little bit warmer than what we started, I think by about 2 degrees. Trucks still should be handling pretty good. Don't think it's a quick enough of a change to really catch anybody off guard. But pit stops. We're going to be talking. Oh, Sean Hill back down to the middle was not clear. This is going to cause a mess just off of turn 2. Looks like majority of the field was able to hang on, but a couple guys out back spin around and actually somehow it doesn't look like anybody gets any major damage. Yeah, Dawson, how the heck did we make it out of that with anybody smoking?
It's incredible driving by really just Alex Hill, Andrew Navarro, and Garrett Maines. I mean, we're going to have to get a look at all 3 of these guys because all 3 of them just made exceptional saves on the back straightaway. I think the most impressive might have been Navarro because he was pretty well headed for the inside wall.
So let's go back and take a look. What's going to go wrong here? You see Matt Lee and his teammate Sean Hill, Sean leading on the bottom. And it looks like Sean is going to get sent up a lane here from the push maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was by design or if he chose to do that. We'll have to look at the cockpit view to probably get a better idea. And then just, Dawson, it looks to me like after he went up, he maybe missed the middle, got a little higher when he tried to come back down, just wasn't clear. Garrett was there, and Garrett wasn't lifting, and that's what's going to happen.
Well, yeah. Now that first angle we saw, I don't know. It looks like maybe Matt Lee. I think Alex definitely wanted to go up there and block Garrett. I think that was fully the intention. But I think Matt Lee also may have gotten him off center, and I think it shot Alex a little bit further up than he wanted to go. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at that wrong, but that's my view because Lee is all over his back bumper, and I'm just thinking maybe Lee didn't know he was going to make that move. It wasn't communicated well, and by the time Alex was moving up, Lee had already hit him, and then by the time, obviously, Alex is coming back down, Garrett's already filled that hole.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, it looks more or less like Alex, assuming from his perspective there, when you look at the rearview mirror, in this case, it looked like he probably had plenty of room still, but all of a sudden, assuming right about when he looked in his mirror, that was when Navarro, you'll see, gets to the 31 truck. It gives him a huge shot, so all of a sudden, that closing speed increases greatly, and the 77 just can't cover it in time. Garrett tries to split him in the middle, and it just doesn't work out, turns into a mess. But again, everybody somehow saves this. I don't think we're going to see any fast repairs out of this one either. Couple half spins. Watch Garrett Maines in the 31. I mean, this is incredible. Gets sideways. He does get tagged by his teammate John Lewis Jr. I think that helps straighten him out. And then Navarro doing a little drift in action on the backstretch. But how about we go right on board here with Sean Hill and see if it looks like he got that help, or if he was maybe trying to throw not throw a block here, but control the middle, jumping up there. And here he is on the bottom. Yeah, it's hard to say. It looks like it's pretty controlled. It seems like maybe the truck just slid up a little bit more than he thought. Either way, no harm, no foul for the most part. It's going to cost a couple guys track position. I'm sure they won't be too happy about that. But other than that, should be good to go. Dylan Jones right now must have had some issues. Yeah, he's being shown 8 laps down. Not sure if they're going to give him his laps back or what the deal was, but he was involved in that first caution. He didn't get any major damage. He just went for a spin in the grass. So I'm not sure how the 11 managed to end up 8 laps down. We'll keep tabs on that the rest of the way. Matt Lee being shown as your leader. Daniel Eberhard is now up to 2nd. Christopher McCall 3rd. Sean Hill in 4th. And Jeff Merck rounding out your top 5. And when we go green here, Dawson, it looks like it's probably going to be a 2, maybe 3 lap. No, it's going to be a 2-lap shootout when we go green to the finish. Is there any thoughts of pitting here and trying to avoid what we could see as a big mess coming to the line? Or do you just try to go for the stage points?
Well, some guys did, some guys didn't. Mostly from about Andrew Navarro on back right there. We're on pit road. It was a decent 15 trucks that decided to come down, make a stop, and just prepare themselves for after the stage ends. So a split strategy. Obviously, these guys up front going for stage points, especially guys like Matthew Baker, John Ellis, and Cody Nagels that are high in the points. No question, you're going to stay out, you're going to go for points. But further back, yeah, might as well come in. You can still get stage points, or at least have a shot at them. And then obviously you'll have your strategy flipped for the last 40 laps.
So 17, could make it 18 laps now completed. You see a couple guys coming down the pits here, just topping off. Looks like some of the McCall Motorsports drivers and maybe Gabe Butler tagging along with them. Yep, sure enough. These guys all just coming down to get any extra fuel they can in the tank. They might even decide to come back down during the stage break here. I think the idea with that would be you really only have to take a splash. The other guys might have to take a full tank or two, or excuse me, a couple more gallons than you would have to take. Fill up the tank. We'll have to see how it all pans out. But they're going to have a stage break that they're all going to have to make sure they race as hard as they can for. Because it always seems like it just comes down to that one extra point that you could have got. I feel like as a driver, if you know you're not locked in, it always comes right down to the wire. A couple of these guys probably are already locked in mathematically. But a couple of them that started the season hot have had some bad luck recently. Looking to see if that'll get changed around tonight. Brandon Broadfoot had a really great race a couple weeks ago. Last week wasn't quite as nice to him in the Xfinity cars, but back in the trucks, he's got the good-looking paint scheme, Blue Lightning Motorsports. We'll see what he can do here tonight. And with Eberhard on the bottom, he does have a teammate with him in Christopher McCall. The top is 2 NBG teammates, followed by Chris Blanchard. Now, Blanchard has to be careful here, Dawson. You see Matthew Baker, and I wouldn't be surprised here if Baker's going to try to bait him to go high, saying, hey, man, I'll go with you. As soon as the 9 pulls high, that 5 will drop right back down to the middle and scoot right on by.
And not only that, but they have 2 teammates lined up with them on the bottom in the form of Jeff Merck and Cody Nagel. So I think what they're going to try to do here is, bait out the 9 and then get the 60 and the 6 up if they can. Try to go lead the field and go 5 deep at the front. I think that's the ultimate goal. Will they have time to do it? I don't know, but you know them. They're going to try anything they can to get their trucks up there. Pace cars off field in the hands of Matt Lee.
Everybody's still 2x2. Only a couple guys single file. Those are the guys that, of course, topped off. Mark Vondell looks to be the last truck currently in the pack, rounding us out. Dylan Jones still looking to get some of his laps back. Nobody with damage, and everybody looking for stage points. Green flag is back in the air. 2 laps to go in stage 1 here at Talladega. Matt Lee gets a great jump. He's off to the races. We'll see if he decides to jump down here in front of Daniel Eberhardt. Sure enough, he does. He wants to block any momentum from that outside from getting going, but Eberhardt is clear to jump up here. He's going to have to take it really soon if he wants it. There he goes, going to jump up in front of Sean Hill. Matt Lee's teammate here thought maybe he would take him 3 wide. He doesn't. He's going to stick behind and push the 90 right now. You know, somebody's going to have to take it 3 wide. Who wants to make the move first?
I thought for sure it was going to be Baker. It's instead going to be Mike Davenport. A huge run from the 55. Help from John Ellis, and they've got help coming in the form of Jason and Garrett Maines. Father-son on the outside coming to help their teammate. It's going to be 4 trucks deep, but I don't know if they'll have time. Meanwhile, up front, 2-truck breakaway. Lee, bottom to top. He wants the race lead in front of his teammate. Gets clear. They're going to have a huge run into the tri-oval. Big push from Chris McCullough to the 90. Blanchard, he's looking 3 wide without even getting baited. Further back, Davenport. Now the teammates go across, and Hill is stuck in the middle.
And there's that move. Baker shuffles out Blanchard. Cody drops back down to the middle to help his teammate. Ooh, the outside got really disorganized. Meanwhile, Jason out back. He's trying to gather it back up. Eberhardt's going to get out to a big lead, but watch the big run here on the back. There goes Eberhardt to the middle. They're not going to let that slide. They're going to take him 3 wide. Eberhardt now stuck in the middle. Baker looking to make him 4 wide. These guys got to be careful. They're not going to be able to hold on to it. And somehow they all find a way to make Eberhardt 4 wide, split him. They're all going to leave him in the middle to the dust. Eberhardt jumps back up. Matt Lee still in front of his teammate. Alex Hill out of turn 4 for the final time. Christopher McCall on the bottom with a push from Jeff Merck. I don't think it's going to be enough. Final gas to the line. Does Alex think about dropping low to help Baker out? They are 4. They might have the top 4 spots here swept at the line, though. Matt Lee is going to win the stage.
I mean, I don't even know what to say.
I don't either.
That's an unreal move by NBG Motorsports. A couple of different unreal moves. Every time I think they've done something more and more ridiculous, they one-up it. That unbelievable teamwork by NBG Motorsports.
I don't know how in the world they found a way to get Eberhardt shuffled out 4 wide. I mean, Eberhardt is easily one of the veterans when it comes to super speedway racing. I never in a million years could have told you they would have found a way to shuffle him out of a pack like this. But let's break it down for you the best we can here. He jumps to the top. He knows that's where the run's coming. They take him 3 wide. He tries to throw a block. Doesn't work there. Now Baker says, you know what? I'll go ahead and take him 4 wide. Eberhardt tries a little bit of a block. Isn't really there. Decides to be conservative about it. He may have been able to force the issue a little bit more with Baker. But then after that, Dawson, you can see the chips just fall. I mean, they line up absolutely perfect. The only guy that's not in that train in the middle for NBG is Jeff Merck. He's on the bottom pushing Christopher McCall. The inside just really kind of dies out here. The middle was chugging along. Looks like Chris gets a little loose with the push from Jeff. And sure enough, NBG goes 1, 2, 3, 4 just in the first stage. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure if we do get a chance to speak to Matt Lee after this stage, I can't imagine how they're going to be feeling about that. I mean, I don't even know if they can explain how they did that, because we can't. I mean, we just tried, but I don't know what we just saw.
And you know what? Matt Lee made the initial move, and I don't think he was expecting that Baker and Cody were going to be able to make another move to tag on. I can't believe they found a way to do that. All right, so everybody is going to come in and top off on fuel except maybe 3 of the guys that had already pit. Either way, we're going to take a side-by-side break. We will be back in just a minute. Stick with us.
Ghost Racing Network now has merch. Go to grnmerch.com to browse our selections from stickers to custom-made by request hoodies and shirts. If you've ever wanted to support Ghost Racing Network outside of YouTube, here's your chance. Ghost Racing Network, or the scary side of iRacing.
Front, now we're going to see a little four-wide action.
Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets right into the lead under it.
Ghost Racing Network now has merch. Go.
Back live at Talladega Superspeedway. Pit stops have come to a conclusion. Mike Davenport being scored as your current leader. Garrett Maines in second. His teammate Jason Maines third. Jeff Merck fourth. Andrew Navarro fifth. We forgot to give a shout out earlier to the guys that are carrying onboards for us here tonight. Cody Nagel's one of those guys. There he is after the great stage finish for his team. Going to be restarting in. Looks like the 10th position. A little work to do. But I think he'll be fine. I think he's still got plenty of time. Matthew Baker, another one of our drivers, carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. I know he's got some fans out there rooting for him in the chat. He's been having a great run up to this point. Hasn't had to use a fast repair. Baker's feeling like he's got to be in a pretty good position right now. Looks like Brandon Broadfoot, one of the guys in here that races in VR, Dawson. I don't know how guys can do VR. That's just one of those things for me that I just couldn't do it. I think I would get dizzy just trying to figure out which way was left, which way was right.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not something I would ever try, but hey, props to Mr. Broadfoot. But yeah, no, I could never do it.
All right, so the lights are off. We're going to go back green this time. I don't give Mike Davenport enough credit for how nice that paint scheme looks. And I know it's a Ghost Racing Network paint scheme, so of course I'm going to be partially biased, but I think the colors go together really, really well. Pacey Gray Racing on the back has a little Mike Davenport signature picture right there on the left side. And he doesn't have any teammates. And in this day and age, as aggressive as the racing is between teams, I feel kind of bad for Mike Davenport in a sense, is no matter what he does right here, I think they're going to be able to find a way to shuffle him out within the first lap or two. His best bet is just to try to tuck in line as close as you can to the front if that is the case. And hold on as far back as you're going to go. Try to make a charge back to the front a little bit towards the end of this thing. He's got a Spider-Man helmet on too. Pretty cool look. He's got Spider-Man gloves, Spider-Man fire suit. I didn't even know you could do that either in iRacing. My goodness. Mike Davenport's got the swagger going on the 55 truck. If you're just tuning in, appreciate you being here. Looks like Heath Job just tuning in. 760 graphics owner. Surprised that we haven't seen you here. I feel like we haven't seen you in a couple races, Heath. Hopefully we'll see you back on Thursday. Donaldo Adams says, let's go Baker. Way to go NBG. And a couple guys on the apron saving fuel here, Dawson. Now it's going to be 36 laps when we go green, so nobody can make it on fuel. Even at 100%, I think if you're saving the draft, realistically, somewhere between 30 and 32 laps. So do you wait to pit here till the end, or do you think about breaking off maybe a little bit earlier?
I think you wait. I think just the way we've been racing, I think you can expect a caution, and once a caution comes out in that window, I think you can pit with everybody else and be good to the end. Only reason those guys are saving is because they stayed out of pit road on that last cycle to take track position back. Field in the hands of PGR's Mike Davenport. He gets a huge jump on the restart. Let's see if he jumps in front of Garrett right here. A little bold move out of Davenport. He's going to hang there, though, and pull Jason along with him. Andrew Navarro a little further back, along with Matt Lee, who's immediately bottom to top. Teammate Cody Nagels making his way up on the bottom, fourth in line now. John Mullihan is up here as well. He's third in the middle line. And here comes Garrett Maines with the help of Jeff Merck. Like you said, I'm not sure how long it's going to be that Davenport can stay up front.
Anytime you get a great jump on the restart, you know that you're getting ready to get past him on the backstretch. Oh, Merck looked for a move there. Garrett may have had to throw just a slight bit of a block. That got a little close for just a moment. Davenport still leading the bottom, though, and that's a good position for him to be in. Now he's just got to hope that Jason can hold him up there. Meanwhile, NBG further back, looking like they're ready to go back 3 wide. Baker has not committed with his teammate yet, though. They might be waiting for a little bit more help to arrive. They are really dicing around in the back. Do we have 4 wide going on? We may have for just a moment, but it is back down to 3 wide now. Brandon Broadfoot falls to the back. Oh, David Sheets just barely tags the outside wall. Eberhard, Bass, and Ellis all getting lined up on the top, making that third lane, trying to get it rolling here. But we got a little bit of a breakaway for these first 4 rows that are 2 wide.
Yeah, and they're lucky they had a breakaway because it was a big moment for Garrett Maines in the trial as he got a bad push from Jeff Merck and then a bad push from John Mullihan. He was sideways twice in about 10 seconds on the exit of the trial, and a couple of huge saves by Garrett. That would have been massive wrecks because the whole field is 3 wide behind him. Luckily, Garrett very, very skilled in keeping the car going the right direction. He's got his dad in front of him now, Jason Maines. He moved up to the top in front of Garrett. On the bottom, though, Davenport, Navarro, Nagels, and they are hooked together. Big time Davenport back to the lead at the stripe.
Well, we haven't seen much of tonight, Dawson, as guys hanging back from the pack. Seems like everybody just at this point wants to be up there racing. Looks like Brandon Broadfoot's the only truck trailing a little bit. He doesn't have any damage. I think he's just playing the cautious game. Mike Davenport still under charge from the outside. Nagels has to give him a push here to keep him up, but Navarro might get clear with the big push he's getting from Jason, as Cody is still not got to the back bumper of Mike just yet. And we might have a new leader getting down to turn 3. Sure enough, Andrew Navarro has a truck out in front, and there he goes to the bottom. He's going to cut off Mike Davenport, who now becomes the lead pusher. And the 2 Maines boys still leading the middle, and where is the help right now? They can't seem to find any. Just as I say that, Cody Nagels jumps to the middle. He might be looking to jump 3 wide here shortly. We'll see what he does. Jason Maines now down to the bottom through the tri-oval.
Third line's coming in a hurry. Kenny McCullough, Ryan Bass, John Ellis, Daniel Eberhardt. They have made their way to the front, and Kenny wants to lead in turn number 1. He is even with the 31 of Maines. Bass with some huge help to the back of the 0-3. Big credit to that white and red truck. Second in line on the outside line against the wall. They may get the lead right here. We'll see. Bass, another huge push. And in trouble. Mullihan is around on the back straightaway, and some other trucks, I believe, are involved as well.
Merck's in it. Davenport's in it. Danny Barnes and John Mullihan, the man that we first saw go spinning. 4th caution of the night. A couple of these guys did make contact with the inside wall. A couple of them got away without a slap on the wrist. But let's go back, take a look from the chopper cam where it's going to go wrong here. Ooh, somebody gets turned up into the pack. Of course, that is Davenport. And, you know, that's a tough break. That's what we were worried might happen when he got shuffled back. You always worry about that when you lose track position. But, man, Mike was doing such a great job tonight. You always hate when that happens to one of the guys that doesn't have one of the big teams out here just trying to make it work. And it looks like maybe Merck's going to give Vondell a push play real slow. Hard to say from that view, but I can't tell if Vondell just gets offset himself or if Merck gives him a little bit of a bad push. See if we can play a little closer here. It looks like maybe Merck just gives him a slightly offset push. Maybe that sends Mark down a little bit. Or again, maybe Mark was just driving down a little bit. Hard to tell, but I'm thinking it was a slight bump from Jeff that sends Mark down a little bit. And as close as they were running, there just wasn't any room to run down. So when he does run down here, he's going to get into Mike Davenport's right rear. That turns him up into John Mullihan. And there goes Merck, Danny Barnes, and Mullihan. Ooh, Barnes takes a pretty good shot to the inside wall. So does Merck. I think Davenport makes some contact. I don't know how heavy it was. A couple more views here. It's just, you know, Dawson, it's a product of hard racing. Whenever you're in the pack, there's always going to be some checkup somewhere, and Maybe Merck just wasn't quite ready for that checkup, or maybe he was just trying to give Merck a push, and it was just at the wrong time when there may have been a slight checkup. But yeah, it looks like Davenport makes slight contact with the inside wall. Going to be a faster pair potentially for Danny Barnes and Jeff Merck. I think Mike Davenport might be okay. You can see he's got a little bit of right front damage. Everything else looks pretty clean. But is this going to put us in the window? It's going to be really close, Dawson. I think if you come in and top off here, you'll be good to go the rest of the way, assuming no green-white checkers.
It's close. With the green-white checkers, it's really close. Obviously, a lot of guys came to pit road, with the exception of Chris Blanchard and Matt Lee, who stayed on the racetrack. So an interesting decision by those two. I guess they're banking on more cautions. They can save some fuel, but how about Gabe Butler? What a pit stop by the 88. He's our leader off pit road. He's going to line up P3. All of a sudden, he's back in the conversation. Great run so far for Gabe. Like I said, consistency. He's going to find his way to the front. He's done just that.
And looks like, I'm assuming it's Gabe's teammate. I think it's Steve Korsak in the chat. Dale told me to do it. Says, get him, Gabe. Baker's mom says, poor Merck, he can't catch a break. I hear you on that one. But speaking of the bold strategy you just talked about here for Chris Blanchard, looks like we got him on a close channel here. Let's see if we can bring him up for a quick word. Hey, Chris, this is Austin and Dawson up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do. I got you.
Well, it looks like you're maybe trying some strategy here. Tell us a little bit about it and how you plan on getting the win here tonight.
If I get a win tonight, I'll be pulling it out of my butt for sure with these guys I'm racing with. So I've been trying to get up front most of the night, trying to stay there and stay on the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is take the inside line and stay there and see if I can at least get into a money spot.
Another thing I want to ask you about, we didn't get to see it tonight in the sense of you didn't have a driver cam for us, but I think you may have the wildest sim rig setup of anybody I've seen. Does that thing move around?
It does. It's a Sim Experience Stage 5 motion rig. It's got YAR and everything. I mean, traction loss. It's got 3 55-inch monitors, so it's pretty intense.
You're telling me that sounds like some state-of-the-art stuff. Hey, well, good luck getting the win tonight, and if you crash, hopefully we don't see you injured in real life, because that thing sounds pretty wild to me.
It does send me for a ride when I get hit, so hopefully they take it easy on me.
All right, thanks for talking to us, Chris. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
And, well, all right, Dawson. Well, I learned something new today. I mean, a setup that you feel when you get hit, that has to be pretty interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, the draw to iRacing, I think, is that it's simulation and not real, and yet we found a way to make it more real than we ever have. So yeah, I'm with Chris. I'm hoping they take it easy on him here, because even a bump draft in the truck, so I mean, does it move the whole rig? Oh boy, it can't be comfortable racing in this draft package.
Yeah, not as aggressive as these guys are, that's for sure. So it's going to be Blanchard on the inside, Matt Lee on the outside. That's row 1. Garrett Maines and Ken McCall Jr. row 2. Jason Maines and Cody Nagels rounding out row 3. But a couple of big hitters just behind these guys. Navarro and Eberhardt both trapped on the bottom. But you know they're going to be doing everything in their power to move up to the top. We are just now officially halfway, actually a lap over halfway through this 60-lap race. Hoping that we can get 10 to 20 green flag laps in here. Seems like when guys can get green for 10 laps or so, things start to mellow out. The racing starts to become really clean as everybody kind of gets in that rhythm. But hasn't been able to happen too much tonight. Again, 4 cautions. We're averaging at least a caution every 10 laps, probably a little bit more. Something a little bit more like 1.3 cautions every 10 laps. But here we go. Blanchard and Matt Lee leading us back to green. Dawson Wise, take it away.
Yeah, field in the hands of Mr. Chris Blanchard. He's going to get on the loud pedal. He's going to have some strong encouragement from Garrett Maines here on the restart. That's a great start, as always, for Matt Lee up top, though, and he's got some big hitters in behind him to help. McCullough, Nagels, Ellis a little further back, Ryan Baste still hanging around right at the front of the field, 2 wide. Everybody lockstep in formation. 2 by 2, nobody going anywhere yet as we get up to full speed on the back straightaway. Blanchard is clear, but you heard him. He's not going to be as aggressive. You know who is, though? Kenny McCullough. He's immediately to the top of the racetrack around Matt Lee. The problem is nobody's going up there to help him. McCullough's going backwards in a hurry. His teammates are a little further back. Mullihan's going to pick him up, but that did not work for the 0-3.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe he almost wanted to drop to the back to save a little bit of fuel here, because we know Ken's another one of the veterans, and that just didn't seem like it would have been a very smart move there. He's usually on comms asking during a race. He'll say, who do I got behind me? What are we looking like here? And they'll kind of plan out before they go 3 wide. It didn't look like that was very planned. So now Blanchard, who is still leading the bottom, but Garrett Main's up top. And it's the story of the race has been, if you don't have any teammates, you've got to stick to the bottom line, especially when you're up there in the front as the leader. And right now, Blanchard doesn't have to worry about anybody splitting them on both lanes. He's just going to have to worry about holding anybody up on the top line, and maybe anybody from getting clear and dropping in front of him. He's doing a pretty good job right now, but you can tell Jason is pushing the daylights out of him. Garrett, and it looks like Matt Lee, they're locked together here as we work our way into turn 3. Cody Nagel's hanging with his 2 teammates, John Ellis Jr., Ryan Bass. Do they think about sizing up a run now? Maybe everybody stays patient, but I don't know about that, because further back, Alex Hill, he's looking to go to the front. Now we're going to have about 4 or 5 trucks jump up to make the 3rd lane get going.
Yeah, they waited about a lap and a half. Hill, 4 wide. What a move by Alex Hill. He's got Kenny McCullough with him. He swung it out wide by the outside wall and made it work, and Bass blocks him. Unbelievable moves by both of those drivers. And all of a sudden, we're wrecking in turn number 1.
Can they save it? They're still together. Oh, now they're going to wreck big time. Merck up on Ken McCall Jr.'s hood.
Oh, trouble again at the front. It's Chris Blanchard. He's around and into Andrew Navarro as we slowed down for the caution.
Oh, that is trouble for Chris. Man, he was having a good run, and anything that happens after a caution is insult to injury, especially if you're one of the guys that was not involved in the caution. Boy, I'll tell you what, Dawson, it looked like they had it saved for a little while there, and then all of a sudden they didn't. Let's go back and take a look first here what happens with Jeff Merck. They got 4 wide. It seemed like it worked well for the entirety of the front straightaway, and then all of a sudden it didn't work once we got to turn 1. And let's see what's going to happen. There's Sheets in the middle, the 8 truck on the bottom. But I think, oh yeah, no, the 8 truck washes up a little bit. That causes David Sheets to wash up a little bit. He sees that and doesn't want to hit. So when he washes up, he gets into the side of David Drohan, who gets up into Ken McCall Jr. They both get into the wall now. So far, they're okay right here. Merck's going to dive to the inside. It seemed like he was fine. But then those 2 trucks coming off the wall, they're going to clip Merck. And that sends Merck right around, takes a big shot into that outside wall up on top of the hood in the roof area for Ken McCall Jr. We're going to have to take a ride on that cockpit view. That had to look pretty interesting. And then Chris Blanchard up front. This is what you're talking about. Let's see what's going to go wrong. Oh, does he get a little bit of a bad bump from Jason? You got to wonder if when the caution flew, did he maybe put on the brakes? It's usually a no-no. Let's see if that looks like that may have been the case. Right on board with him here. No, not the case. He was still full throttle, and usually when the caution's out, these guys will start to let out of the throttle back to front. It doesn't seem like it. I mean, you hear him let out of the throttle, but it looked like that was after he was sideways. I don't, Dawson, does it look like, we'll take another view here. Does it look to you, though, like he just gets a bad push? Not sure if it was a checkup or what.
Yeah, I think Jason had a bit bigger of a run than he expected, and as Jason, you'll see Jason drop down to the apron a lot when the caution comes out, and I think it's just the same thing he always does. We always see him do it. I think he just maybe caught the back end of Blanchard a little quicker than he thought he was going to, and as Blanchard bounces off Navarro right here, Andrew Navarro gets absolutely the worst of this. He blows the front end off that 42 and immediately went to pit road. Did not even bother driving the truck back. So his night could be pretty well over here with 25 to go.
Yeah, I don't know if he has a fast repair or not. He might. We'll have to find out when he gets off, but there's the big shot. And let's go back and ride on board here with Ken McCall Jr. because, as we said, he had an interesting perspective on this track. Watch this. And he could see the entire underside of Jeff Merck's truck. Not the view he necessarily probably wanted to see here over halfway through the race. 25 laps to go, though. Now the restart is going to be with probably 23 laps to go Garrett Maines being scored as your leader. Actually, I take it back. Looks like maybe Matt Lee. I can't tell who's saving fuel and who your leader is. Those two are going to be making up row 1 either way, though. Jason Maines in 3rd. Cody Nagels in 4th. John Ellis Jr. 5th. Matthew Baker 6th. Christopher McCall 7th. Sean Hill 8th. John Mullihan 9th. And David Sheets rounding out your top 10. Going to take another side-by-side break. We will be right back before we go green. Stay with us.
Ghost Racing Network now has merch. Go to grnmerch.com to browse our selections from stickers to custom-made by request hoodies and shirts. If you've ever wanted to support Ghost Racing Network outside of YouTube, here's your chance. Ghost Racing Network, for the scary side of iRacing.
Front, now we're going to see a little 4-wide action.
Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets over it into the lead under record.
3x3 entering 4.
3 2. At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway, getting ready for the restart. If you're just tuning in, appreciate you being here. Dawson, again, thanks for joining us here tonight. It's been fun up to this point. We were just talking about during the break, I think things are going to get pretty crazy here. You were talking about a perfect storm kind of brewing up in the sense of you've got 3 of the Maines guys on the bottom, 4 of the NBG group up top, and you know those guys are not going to play too nice with each other. We'll see how long they all stay 2x2 to try to control those 2 lanes. Now, NBG has the advantage of if they get up top, they could control 2 out of the 3 lanes. We'll just have to see how they all decide to go about it. Going to be 23 laps to go. At this point, everybody's good to go on fuel. It's just going to be a sprint to the finish, and we will see who can get to the checkered flag first. Looks like Steve Korsek said, good broadcast, guys. And Vamps just hops in, says, good evening, good to see you out here. Hope you're having a good night. Appreciate you joining us. You're just in time as the green flag is back in the air for Garrett Maines and Matt Lee. Lee's going to get off to the races with a pretty good jump, but the bottom is more organized. You see Jason is already to the back bumper of his teammate. Just behind them, John Ellis Jr. kind of trying to make that 3-truck tandem happen through turns 1 and 2. Now the NBG guys are lined up, but all of a sudden the McCall group, Sheets and Vondell, they were fading a little bit, and that's going to split the outside up just a bit after 4 trucks deep.
Yeah, weird that Sheets kind of left a gap. It's a big gap back from Alex Hill. He's not able to really tuck up behind his teammate Matt Baker, so they're going to have to hope the cavalry comes to help them soon because they are still kind of just hung out on an island right here. Nobody's gotten up to help him. David Sheets still about 3 truck lengths back. That's going to allow Jason maybe to clear up. NBG goes up to the wall. They say, no. We're going to go right around you. Not playing nice at the front of the field. NBG ruthless into the tri-oval.
You see what they were trying to do there, though, right, Dawson? That was by design, and it's still by design. With John Ellis Jr. hopping up, they got to make sure Lee doesn't get clear, though, here. If he gets clear, it's not going to work out. Oh, he does. and that strategy doesn't work out. The mains group was hopping up to the middle, trying really hard to make sure that NBG couldn't get clear later. Unfortunately, though, well, unfortunately for the mains group, Lee was able to hop down. Fortunate for NBG now, because they do have 2 of those 3 lanes controlled. John Ellis Jr. on the bottom with Christopher McCall. We talked about Lee in the middle, and it's Cody Nagels up top getting a push from Matthew Baker. Now they're going to shuffle another one of their guys down, and now Lee probably hops to the bottom. They might have all 3 lanes clogged up. It's going to be Cody that drops to the bottom.
Yeah, this is unreal. Unreal communication, unreal teamwork. And this is kind of what we've waited for out of NBG the last few weeks. I think they haven't had a performance quite this dominant. And now they control all 3 lanes. Although Cody's starting to fade, they're going to let Garrett get clear to the bottom. He's going to take it immediately. Garrett Maines to the bottom of the racetrack, to the yellow line. Baker goes top to middle. He's going to help his teammate Lee. That's that communication now up top. It's only Hill and Eberhardt. They're going to have to wait on their help. Oh, Garrett Maines off turn number 2.
And I'll tell you what, these guys look like they think we're on about 2 to go. Never mind with 21 still to go. Sean Hill up top right now. Looks like he's only got 2 trucks. There's a lot of fishtailing going on. And it doesn't have anything to do with the trucks not handling well. It's that these guys are just pushing the heck out of each other right now. NVG is stuck behind Garrett Maines right now in the middle, but they do have one of their own leading the top. Sean Hill getting a push from Daniel Eberhardt. Cody on the bottom. Seems like the bottom, though, has not been the dominant lane tonight. We'll have to see if it gets stronger the rest of the way. Vamps says, hey, man, good to see you guys. Hope your day is good. My day was good. Thank you, man. Me and Dawson having a pretty good day so far. Having an even better time watching this race and can't wait to see the finish. Baker's mom says, come on, NBG. Boy, I'll tell you what, it's a good thing they got Garrett leading that lane, because with as much pushing as Baker's doing, I don't know if anyone else could handle that right now. Oh, my goodness.
4 wide a little further back. Daniel Eberhardt, Jason Maines, Dylan Jones. They're the first to go 4 wide on this run. Third line's going to be Hill and Lee. Eberhardt up against the wall. Oh, boy, a little bit of trouble there, but Lee going up to pick up his teammate. NBG fading, a little bit in trouble. Brandon Broadfoot's around. David Sheets, Matt Lee, Alex Hill, Daniel Eberhardt, and others.
Is it the big one at Talladega? I think it is. Ken McCall Jr.'s in it. There's Brandon Broadfoot. Man, this one's going to collect quite a few guys in it. Ken McCall Jr. on the bottom, getting it spun back around. There's Sean Hill, and it was a ticking time bomb that finally went off, Dawson. There was just no way those guys could continue running as aggressive as they were without something going wrong. They got 4 wide for a little bit, but it was only for a little bit. And I do want to say real quick, as we're taking a look, just had to make a quick mic adjustment, so let me know if hopefully it should sound about the same. Let me know if anything sounds drastically different, worse, or better. But let's go back and watch this from the get-go. And, I mean, they got fully committed to 4 wide. You know what? I actually want to look at something here. And there you saw the big wreck. The 4 wide wasn't when the wreck happened. They had gotten 4 wide down in turn 3, and then they got it sorted out for the most part, at least. There's Daniel Eberhardt on the top, and it looks like, yeah, sure enough, Sean Hill fell back. So now they're back to 3 wide. And let's see. The TV follow cam maybe here? Oh, Broadfoot's the first one to get sideways. You got to think that's going to be an offset shove from somebody here in the middle of the pack. Ooh, actually, he was in the in-between section right here. You see he's committed to the middle lane, and then does he think about jumping up, or does he get pushed up? That's the question. It's too hard for me to tell. I'm not sure if you can see really anything, Dawson, but then when he does kind of get stuck a little bit of a half lane up, Ken McCall Jr. gets to his left rear. That turns the 22 around. He slides down, and then everybody slides back up. David Sheets, Ken McCall Jr., Sean Hill, even Eberhardt. He's not able to miss it. Gets down into Maines. Tag Sheets again. I think Jones is the only guy that really sneaks through that one. And, I mean, Dawson, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it just looked like just kind of a jumble up in the pack. I mean, eventually it happens. You got maybe somebody just getting slightly shoved up, and there's just too many trucks too close together.
Yeah, I was trying to get a better look at it. I think what it is maybe Brandon was following the truck in front of him just a tad. You tend to do this when you're back a little further in line. You tend to just follow the bumper of the guy in front of you when you're just kind of forced to do that. When you don't have to be aware of anybody to your outside, you just kind of follow in the line. I think that's what he does, and unfortunately, as he tries to recommit to Ryan Baste, Kenny McCullough does not expect him to come back down, gets into him, and starts a massive chain reaction. This is disaster for Kenny McCullough, who was already on pit road to take repairs under our last yellow flag. He's going to have to take some more. Same for Jason Maines. Alex Hill, he's got big damage. David Sheets, I think, got the worst of this, though, in the 0-6.
Yeah, this is probably going to put maybe a couple guys out of contention. Not sure how many still have a fast repair left, or at least give some guys some permanent damage that they can no longer fix up on those trucks. And it looks like Famps and Baker's mom says, sounds good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. He was in the danger zone. He certainly was. One of those things, as a driver, you just hold the line and hope for the best. But 6 caution of the night, 18 laps to go. It's going to be probably about a 15, or maybe 16 to go when we go green. And me and Dawson were just talking here. We should start advertising to these guys that we're going to take a commercial break every time we go to caution. Maybe they'd stop wrecking less, because we run out of content to talk about here under the cautions once you see the same guys for enough weeks. But I mean, let's go ahead and, on that note, actually, we do have a couple announcements to head over to talk about. First thing being the next place that we head to here on Ghost Racing Network Thursday. The big race, probably the biggest money race that you see each week if you watch money racing in general, and that is the PGR Thursday Night Heat Series. The payouts have been absolutely insane the last few weeks in general, and we've been getting the fields where we've had an LCQ and we've had guys go home. Last week, I believe we had 3 guys go home from the LCQ, so we had 46 drivers. Week before that, we had 60, I believe. 250 to first, 150 to second, 120 to third, and so on and so forth. Ton of money, and again, that will be broadcasted here live on Ghost Racing Network. Matthew Baker joins us in the booth. Both the LCQ and the feature, of course, will also be both broadcasted, so make sure you don't miss out on those. Green flag for the LCQ at 10 o'clock Eastern this Thursday night. Along with that, Tuesday Night Thunder will be back next Tuesday. Dawson, assuming, hopefully, if he doesn't have anything going on, should be joining us back in the booth again. Been great having you, but with the way this race is going, it kind of has a little bit of that feel of, as dominant as the good teams have been tonight, it has that slight, maybe we see an underdog winner feel to it.
It does. I think you're right. And there's some guys that have made their way back into contention that I think are going to be prime candidates to be that underdog winner. I'm looking at a guy like Mike Davenport, who's back inside the top 15. Actually, might be just outside the top 10. I'm looking at Chris Blanchard. He is back inside the top 10 after that. We saw that weird incident with Jason Maines under our last caution. So some guys that don't have any teammates, some guys that are running by themselves. And I think you're right. This has that weird feeling to it where maybe we get a big last lap wreck like we got in PGR a couple of weeks ago when Trevor Osbornoff went to victory lane. What a moment that was for him. Maybe we replicate that tonight. We'll see. Getting close, getting down to it. Maybe 16 to go when we go green.
You got heavy hitters up front, you got heavy hitters in the middle, and you got heavy hitters in the back. That is all gearing up for what is going to be an exciting 16 laps of racing here to finish us off at Talladega. And we're going to, let's make an I'll just say let's make a bet on cautions the rest of the way. Go ahead and put in the chat how many you think we have. I think these guys still have 3 left. That's going to be my guess. I'm hoping we can go green, though, the rest of the way. Here we go. Cody Nagels and Garrett Maines on row 1. Matthew Baker and John Ellis Jr. row 2. Green flag is back in the air at Talladega. Good restart for the NBG boys. The bottom not quite as good, but it's not going to take long for John Ellis Jr. to get to the aid of his teammate. They're going to go side by side in turn 1. And I think I'm looking here for Matt Lee to be the first guy to take it 3 wide with a push from Jeff Merck.
Yeah, I would too, because Ryan Bass is not helping Nagels or Baker. These Maines boys are going to split up. They're going to control the lanes. Matt Lee's got to run. He's got some help a little further back from Ryan Bass, so I hate to break it to the 73, but he's either got to get down or get out of the way, because Matt Lee, Chris Blanchard, Jeff Merck, they are on the way in a hurry. Up front, though, Maines and Ellis, they control the field for the time being. Ryan Baste has made his way up to the outside line. Now he does go to the bottom behind John Mullahan. Mark Vondel, Gabe Butler goes bottom to top in front of Alex Hill, who has rocketed to the front on this restart. I didn't even see him coming to the green flag, and he's already inside the top 10. Here we go. Butler and Hill going to go to rim ride as we hit the start-finish line.
Yeah, Maines has to be real careful here. He's got to either be starting to think about the kind of block that he wants to throw, or if he's just going to have to commit to the middle, because Nagels and Baker, they're going to jump up top. It's just a matter of time at this point. They might be waiting to see if Gabe can get the run. Their teammate, Sean Hill, he's not too far back, just a row behind Base. If you're Base right now, I say stay where you are. He's going to take it 3 wide. It was too tempting for him to stick in line, but I was going to say as soon as Cody and Baker go 3, that could make him the lead pusher on the back bumper of Garrett Maines, but he's out here to win too. So he looked 3 wide, nothing yet. The bottom though, what has happened here? We faded to 3 trucks and all of a sudden we have 2 packs. Not all of these guys have damage, so what's the deal? Why have all these guys faded back all of a sudden?
I'm not sure. It was kind of weird on the restart. Cody went, but he didn't go at the same time. He got a weird blip on the restart where he didn't really get going. Oh, to the bottom, huge move, and what a block by Garrett Maines in the 31. He continues to control the field. And Cody going to go bottom to top, nothing doing. Garrett Maines, this is a clinic out front of this field off 2.
Matthew Baker holding a real steady wheel, pushed on the outside. Garrett knows that he has to control the top. Now his teammate on the bottom, that will help him in the sense of if he starts to fall back, if they leave him in the middle, John Ellis Jr. will hop up, try to pull the 31 up. It's just a matter of if NBG can get 3 trucks lined up, I think maybe they can blow by Garrett and John if they were to make that move. It's just going to depend, and there goes Ryan Base. That's exactly what Sean Hill wanted to see. That's going to shuffle Base out. Looks like Lee is going to fake too, try to go with them. Now if they can shuffle Everhard out, that would make for 5 NBG teammates altogether. Boy, you talk about dangerous. Oh my goodness, Everhard is going to have to find either a way to the bottom or do something here because he is in the middle of a sandwich right here of NBG. Oh man, Ryan Base tried to get down low, tried to throw a block on David Sheets. It didn't work. That was almost a big wreck, but they all save it again somehow.
Oh boy, this is not what Garrett Maines wants to see in the rearview mirror. This is about worst case scenario for the driver of the 31. Cody goes middle to bottom. He controls the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to take the race lead in turn number 4. Still teammates though lined up. Gabe Butler separating now in between the 4 teammates that are still up on top. So it's going to be a little more difficult for them just for the time being, but I think they're going to be content just to ride with Cody on the bottom line and some teammates up top. They have freedom to do a lot of different things here. So NBG, big time flexibility with 12 to go, but all together out front, it's still Garrett Maines. He's putting on a heck of a show leading this field up front.
Brandon Broadfoot currently rounding out the pack. One of the guys that was carrying the onboard cam as we check in with him. Still got a lot of ways to go here, and he's starting to run out of laps to do so. You kind of are at a point now where you have 2 strategies. You say to yourself, I'm either going to go for the track position here if I'm in the top 10, or I'm going to fall back, wait for what I'm assuming is going to be a big wreck at some point, and then when I get the track position, try to hold on to it. But man, I don't know, we're coming to 11 laps to go this time, and things have all of a sudden kind of went the opposite direction. Doesn't it seem like, Dawson? It's really simmered down. Everybody's still pushing really aggressive, but it's 2 by 2. Not much 3 wide working just yet as we come to 11 laps to go this time. Cody to the top now, and he is going to get in front of Garrett Maines, and all of a sudden NBG is now in control of that top line. But don't look now, here comes Daniel Everhard up top. We'll see if Baker decides to jump up in front of the 90 truck.
Yeah, I think they might. I think that's going to be the smartest way to go is what we saw earlier when NBG controlled all 3 lines, and at first they controlled the middle and the top. So expect Baker to take it maybe if they get close enough. No, looks like he's going to stay in line. Somebody just blew up on the bottom. I think it was Chris McCullough in the 23.
So that's a huge wreck. Oh, we had one in the catch fence. Upside down was David Sheets. Caution is out. Man, that was a brutal, brutal hit for David. That truck is done. Take it to the garage. No hood. Oh, my goodness. 7th caution of the night. Going to put us in a restart now with under 10 to go. And real quick, before we take a look at the wreck, Vamp says, Trevor is my guy. Baker says, Baker's mom says, love seeing my son. And in reference to the Maines, they are a father-son duo, not brothers, but father and son. Here we go, looking at the wreck. Christopher McCall, who you said may have blown up. Is that what it looked like? It's certainly what it looks like from there, Dawson. Didn't see the smoke from that view. But yeah, I could certainly assume he had been the lead pusher for a while. Oh no, there's the smoke. Yeah, you see it. Yep, sure enough, just blows it up. And then everybody behind trying to check up, just not going to happen. And David Sheets just flips and flies rather, off that outside wall. And I don't know, I don't think the 06 has a faster pair left. So I think that's going to end his night.
Yeah, it's a whale of a hit by David Sheets. Obviously, just kind of an innocent bystander. The bottom line stacked up big time because Chris had nowhere to go. I mean, there's nothing you can do when you pop an engine in the middle of the field. He tried his best to get out of the way, but it still checks up the entire field behind him on the bottom line. And boy, David Sheets and Ryan Bass gets a piece of this too. I think a pretty significant piece at that. He actually bounces off the 23 coming back down the racetrack. So a really, really tough break for David Sheets.
And the hard thing about the whole keeping the engines cool here at a track like Talladega, cool track temp, it may not have been as hard tonight as it sometimes is. The problem is you got to run that fine line if you want to be able to stay competitive and stay pushing, where usually your temps are going to be in the orange, maybe peak in red here and then. But it's random in the sense of whenever you get into the red temperature range, it's completely random on when your engine's going to blow up. You could blow up somewhere around the 290s, or you could blow up anywhere upwards of 330. It just completely depends. And in that case, Christopher McCall, not sure if he got the bad end of the stick or if he had just forgot to check his temps. But either way, he blows up. And hopefully he has a fast pair because while the rest of the truck may have been undamaged, that thing's not going to run too fast without a motor in it, so they're going to have to slap a new one in here pretty quick. Looks like they did, as he did have that fast repair, so he's going to have another shot at it. But I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get back to the front. Cody Nagels is being scored as your leader. Garrett Maines in second, so that does split the teams inside and out, and then they're kind of crisscrossed. You got NBG pushing a Maines group, and then a Maines group pushing, and there we go. That makes a lot more sense. I was going to say they're going to have to probably switch that up. Sure enough, they do, so now it's going to align the teammates. John Ellis Jr., well, maybe not. Thought he would be pushing his teammate here. Now it's showing him on the top left to see how they organize out. But either way, Cody first, Garrett second, John Ellis Jr. and Matthew Baker making up row 2. And then it's going to be Alex Hill and Daniel Eberhardt rounding out row 3. I should get the one to go signal this time.
Going to be really interesting. I mean, the team games we've seen all night, it's going to come down to it right here, assuming Cody picks the top. He appears to be indicating he wants the top. We'll see if he does officially take the top once we get back here to 1 to go. It's going to put his teammate behind him, but it's also going to pair up the Maines boys on the bottom. But then again, it also puts Alex Hill on the bottom as well. He'll be 5th, and Jason Maines will be behind Alex Hill. So this is a really interesting restart. There's so much managing you can do right here. And yeah, Cody's going to take the top. This is going to be so interesting because now you're going to really get to see how much management, throttle management, push management these guys do to just try to play those games, play those mind games, and keep their teammates out front.
Dylan Jones has gained 2 of his laps back. He's still down 6, but you never know. We've seen crazier things happen. Talk about the payouts for this race specifically. Again, these might seem a little low when you think about a $25 entry, but that's going to be primarily because of the fact that these guys are all racing for a ton of money. That's all going to come down to the championship race, and then your points champion. 500, I believe, is what it was at least last season, your points champion. I've got to assume it'd be the same this season. And then I think it's over $1,600 at least worth of money into that championship race. I thought last season it might have been even over $2,000. It was a lot of money. So you know that the teams are going to be making sure they prepare to try to sweep spots for that race. But payouts tonight, first going to be going home with $100. Second going to be going home with $100. 75 to third, 60 to fourth, and 40 to fifth. And those might scale down just slightly as we were 1 entry shy of what that normally is. But still pretty good payouts nonetheless. Good crowd for the most part tonight. Been fluctuating between 18 to 21 viewers. And we can't forget about Richard Elliott swinging early here with the $10 super chat that he donated before we were live, but we didn't actually make it to the track just yet. If you're still watching, Richard, we appreciate it as always. I think you might be the top donor overall as now. We'll have to get a little chart for that. And hey, I know it's still a ways away, but Ghost Racing Network right now at 865 subs. You know, it's slowly starting to creep in the back of the mind, the 1,000 mark. And we could get there here, I would say, within the next couple months if everything goes smoothly. So make sure if you like what you're seeing, you don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I think we're going to do some sort of giveaway once we hit 1,000. Maybe some Ghost Racing merch, maybe something else, little gift cards, something. We'll figure it out. Possibilities are endless. Just got to get there first. 7C says, let's go. No Team Navarro, El Solo Labo. Oh, okay. I get it. So Navarro is not with any teammates here tonight. Kind of thought that sometimes he would work with NBG. Not going to be the case tonight. Going to be 7 laps to go. Dawson, take us away.
Yep, field in the hands of Mr. Cody Nagels on the outside, but again, he does not go on the restart, at least not very well. Baker's in the back of the 6. That was weird. It's another slow restart by the 6 is going to allow Garrett Maines to take the race lead just briefly. Here as they go side by side, 2x2 all the way back in formation into turn number 1 yet again. Inside, 10 laps to go, 7 to go to be exact. Getting closer and closer to the conclusion. Let's see what happens on the back straightaway. Cody Nagels rolling out to a pretty firm lead. He's going to be clear. We'll see if he tries to bury Garrett Maines on the bottom or just keep it where it's at. Nope, good push from John Ellis is going to keep Garrett even a little further back. Kenny and Chris McCullough are the first to move out to the wall. It's going to take them a while to get hooked up, though, so not sure they're going to have enough time. Meanwhile, up front, Garrett Maines back to the lead with the help of John Ellis off turn number 4.
And somehow everybody content to stay 2x2 there. Oh, we had one truck shoot off to the inside. That was Ryan Bass. He was able to save it, comes back up on track without any issues. But up front, Garrett Maines leads us. No, actually it was Garrett just by inches that time. Now 6 laps to go. Still trying to get the top line working. Now this time is Mike Davenport. He's got a push from Matt Lee, and here we go. We're starting to see some takers. There goes Navarro. Will Merck think about hopping up there as well here? They've got about 5 trucks lined up. That's plenty more than what you need to really get that line to start going. There goes Merck. Who else is going to go? Does Eberhardt or Butler think about joining the train?
Not yet. The run's not quite there yet from the top. They need to build that run. They're actually going to fade back in line, our Merck and Navarro. So, oh boy, that's not going to work out well for Davenport to lead. They are caught up there. Now Merck goes back to the outside. Does Navarro go with him? Yes, he does. So now the 60 to the outside of the 88. They built a run. Now they're headed for the front of the field. Really, the big truck that I'm going to wonder if they're going to move is the 8 truck a little further back. That's Brock Westmoreland. Nagels goes middle to bottom to block Garrett. Now Garrett buried. Jeff Merck rocketing to the front in 1 and 2.
Can't forget about Brock tonight either. He's been having a heck of a night. Always flies under the radar, but we do not give this guy enough credit. Brock Westmoreland, another one of the drivers without a team, and he always seems to find himself up in the top 5 quite a few times during these races. We'll see if he can cash out tonight. Currently sits in 10th, so he does have some work to do. But up front, NVG, how about it? 3 wide, and they've got 3 of their guys leading the way. Eberhardt pushing Baker in the middle, Maines pushing Nagels on the bottom, and Navarro pushing Merck up top. And I'm surprised that we finally got the third lane going, because for a couple laps there, Dawson, it started to turn into a kind of a battle of, no, I want to lead, no, I want to lead. Nobody really wanted to work together to get it going. But now there's a big surge from the middle. That's going to allow Eberhardt. He tries to get clear. And I think just as he was getting ready to force the issue on that third lane, Baker decides to jump down. That gives the 90 some clean air. And sure enough, Nagels is going to jump back to top. Ooh, Eberhardt does not like that. He is going to give him a big shove. Cody's going to have to hold on here down the backstretch.
Yeah, a little bit of displeasure shown by D3 right there. That was really, really close by Cody. I did not think he was clear. That was razor thin. Top line is fading. Brock Westmoreland is just not really hooked on the back of Andrew Navarro, and they are just not able to really go anywhere. The run stalled out when they got to the front of the field, so they're now about 5 rows back. We'll see if anybody goes up to help him. Gabe Butler's the one I've been watching. I thought Gabe was going to maybe take it in front of Merck. He still hasn't. He's going to just stay in line. I think eventually you'll see him move to the outside as well. Up front, though, it's Baker still. He goes bottom to middle in front of his teammate Nagels. There goes Gabe Butler right when I started talking about him. He rockets to the front of the third line. That's going to allow Alex Hill to get up into the middle. NBG starting to form up at the front. This is going to get dangerous here in just a minute for the other trucks behind them.
Gabe Butler, another one of the single-man teams here tonight. Now, what I think could be hurting this outside line too now, Dawson, is we just had the weather up on the side. Track temp has cooled even more. Now down to 76 degrees. The cooler that track temp gets, the stronger I gotta believe the bottom line gets as Nagels jumps back down in front of Baker. A little bit shocked to see that move right there because now he opens the door back up for Eberhardt here. I thought he would have stayed low, but Alex Hill pushing Eberhardt, trying to see if he could get him out to the lead. Ken McCall Jr. had to drop down to the apron, but he pulls back up. And 2 laps to go. This is our last lap for caution. We might make it to the end of this thing.
We might just do that. The pack is split up. When the third line faded, it just kind of killed the momentum of everyone from about 9th on back. It's about 9 trucks here at the front of the field. Eberhardt leads. Watch out. Baker or Nagels may take it right here and control the lines. They're going to be clear, and that's exactly what Matthew Baker does. NBG now leads both lines. They've buried Eberhardt and Maines. It's going to take some kind of desperation from Eberhardt now to win this race. Down the backstretch, watch out. Jason Maines has caught this field. They're going to go topside. Oh, Lee tried to fade back in line. Now Lee goes top with Navarro, dicing back in 3 and 4. But it's now Kenny McCullough that leads the top line. NBG up front, but here comes McCullough headed back to the white flag.
And I think Eberhardt's going to make that. Oh, man, he's trying to not turn Baker. Really had to bail out of it. Everybody trying to hold on for the last 100 feet or so to make this race official. They do. White flag is in the air. Now, all of a sudden, I was going to say Eberhardt does make the move. He can't, though, now. He is trapped in the middle, and it's all pushed now somehow, someway after everybody almost loses it. NBG ends up right back on top. They're wrecking out back. We got another one blown up. I think it's Garrett Maines. Sure enough, the 31 truck is slow. That's going to separate and change up the momentum. Now it opens the door for Daniel Eberhardt to drop to the bottom. Jason Maines is going to push him now. Alex Hill drops down to the middle. Ken McCall Jr. up top. Can he get a runner? Is it too late? We're going to see 4 wide here off of 4 as Gabe Butler and Jeff Merck try to make another lane work. Cody Nagels now back to the middle. They're trying to pick up one more position from Jason, who's going to throw a late block. Cody looks to the outside, back to the inside. There's almost some contact, but an amazing block from Jason Maines is going to get him the win at Talladega. What a block. That has to be the block of the season right there. Oh my goodness.
Jason Maines with one of the better turn 4s and tri-ovals at Talladega that I have seen in a long, long time. Perfect execution. And boy, you got to think he's feeling good about that one. What a heck of a drive. Jason Maines is back in victory lane.
That was a phenomenal. We got to go back and take a look at this. I mean, that was absolutely incredible in the sense of he drove him all the way up to the top. I thought Cody was going to just split him. Cody dove back to the bottom. Jason was still able to hold it. And then I think Cody just said, you know what, man? You earned it. You can have it. And just pushed him the rest of the way after 2 amazing blocks. Let's go back and take a look at this. So here we go. Out of 4, Eberhardt and Maines take the lead. They've got the lead on the backstretch after everybody got all mixed up. There's the big block. Big block. Eberhardt stays on the bottom. Nagels looks to the middle. It's just not there. At this point, has to stay in line behind Jason. Tries one more move at it, coming to the line, but it's just not enough time. We got to see if we can get a better angle of this block. I just cannot stress enough how big of a block this was that he threw on Cody. I thought for sure that the one truck was going to be getting wrecked right here, and we were going to see a big pileup. Somehow we ended in what was probably one of the more exciting finishes of the season right there. All right, here we go into the tri-oval. There's the big block. Jason up, Cody back down. And he's just got to stay in line. And you see the back of the truck fishtailing. I mean, he was getting all he could handle right there. Cody was not going to let him off the hook easy.
Wow, I just can't say enough about it. Just the move that Jason, when he went up and right there in the middle of the tri-oval, when Cody looks like he has a window, I thought for sure Jason was done for. And he just slides back across the 6's nose. I have no idea how he made that work.
Man, and you know what? The best way to see how it worked, let's ride on board with Jason. Actually, I take it back. Let's ride on board with Cody because that'll tell us just how clear he was and if Cody ever had to lift here or not. Cody does come in second. Alex Hill third. Here we go. This is out of turn 4. Here's the run. Jason sees it. Jumps up top. Oh, man. Cody even has to give him a shot, and then he looks to the middle. Oh, my goodness. I do not know how they did not wreck there. That was absolutely wild. Well, I'll tell you what. We are going to go get your top 3 for interviews. And, yes, sure enough, it was Garrett Maines, the truck that blew up on the backstretch. 2 blow-ups tonight, and Garrett's one of the guys that you really rarely see it from. But again, it's just a matter of how hard he had to push on the last lap. Random chance once it turns red, and he was going to run it, hoping he could make to the line. Unfortunately, just could not quite do so. We're going to go get your top 3 for interviews. We'll be right back. Stay with us. All right, back live at Talladega Superspeedway. Going to start with third place finisher. Dawson Wise stands by with Alex Hill.
Yeah, hey, Alex, it's the boys in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, you guys dominated tonight. I mean, it's nothing short of that. It was an incredible team run out of you guys, and it's an overall pretty great run for NBG Motorsports, but for you yourself as well. You come home third tonight. Kind of take us through how you're feeling after that third place effort.
Yeah, I'm feeling all right. I probably could have dragged the brakes on Baker. Instead, I lifted off just a bit there to get to his front bumper. So that was probably one of the few mistakes I made tonight. But earlier, I came down when I wasn't clear in front of Garrett. That was probably another big mistake that cost me. But I mean, all in all, it was a solid race.
Yeah, very solid race, learning experiences all around. And I want you to take us through that move that you guys pulled at the end of the stage, because that was just some unreal communication and teamwork. And obviously we'll get Cody's take on it too, but kind of take us through, what was the communication like in that moment?
Yeah, we were all just trying to get lined up there. I mean, all four of us were lined up, and me and Lee just decided to go high. Thank God Ellis was there with a run as well. And yeah, we just got locked on together, and that's the biggest thing, is great communication, and we for sure have that. So that was what got us to that stage win there.
Yeah, and obviously everybody comes home with stage points. Everybody comes home pretty much with a pretty great run. All of you guys finished in the top 9. So kind of take me through where this goes for you guys as a team. We were kind of waiting on you guys to all get good finishes in the same night. You do it tonight. You all finished top 9. How are you guys feeling as a team after that one?
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good about that run. Yeah, there's things that we can improve on and fix on, but all in all, I mean, that was a really good team effort by every single one of us.
All right, well, we'll let you go celebrate it here in a second. Anybody you want to thank or shout out for that third place run?
Yeah, thank you to everybody over at MBG, Cody, Baker, Lee, Merck. Thank you to you guys for broadcasting, Ghost Racing Network. And thank you for Ron for putting this TNT Season 2 on.
All righty, well, third place, Alex Hill. Congrats on that big run. We'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you.
And I'm also standing by with our second place finisher, Mr. Cody Nagels. It's Dawson and Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, obviously, I'm sure you wanted the win there. Kind of take us through that last run to the finish, and obviously what happened there with Jason in the trial.
I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit, because I think maybe if I would have just went above Jason when he committed on Daniel, I don't know if I'd have had enough time. I think I would have had enough time to get to the line. I would have only had Alex pushing me, because it looked like Baker, it was 4 wide with Baker, Dylan, Lee, Kenny. So Baker wouldn't have been able to help, but I would have had Alex. So I don't know if Jason would have had enough draft to still make it back to the line ahead of me. I probably should have just went ahead and tried it, but I'm not going to be disappointed with how the team finished.
Yeah, and that actually segues really well. It's a great run for NBG Motorsports. We just got your teammate Alex Hill's perspective on what this means for NBG. We were waiting on you guys to get a great finish as a team tonight. 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th. How are you feeling about how NBG comes out of this race?
I'm thinking our communication, because I'm still fairly new to the team and learning everyone's the distinction of what makes Jeff Merck, what he brings to the team versus Baker, Alex, Matt Lee bringing Matt here recently. I'm still kind of learning it and getting us gelled as a team, and there's races that the communication isn't quite what we would want it to be. But at the same time, there's also races like tonight where even though we didn't get the win, I think we felt like we ran a very complete race as a team. So, moving forward, I think we just carry the momentum and we keep telling each other, don't make mistakes, because if we can get clean to the end, it seems like we get good finishes. So we just can't shoot each other in the foot along the way.
Yeah, certainly did not do that tonight. It was a great team night for NBG Motorsports. It was also a great points night for you and Matthew Baker. You're going to pick up some points on John Ellis, who finished a little further down. So kind of take us through it. How are you feeling on points now that you had this great an effort, both you and Baker, here as we get later in the season?
I'm thinking with the double points night coming up, if you're within striking distance of the guy ahead of you, no one's really safe, because if I have a bad points night on the double points night, that could bury me. So I don't feel safe in every race. I'm still hungry to get the same result. I want to win every race I'm in. I know that's not going to happen, but that's the mindset in every race that I go into and should be for everyone in the race. So I'm not trying to play defense. I'm going to continue to go on offense and just race as if every race is my last race from here on.
All right. Well, congrats on that second place finish tonight. Certainly a great effort for you. Anybody you want to shout out or thank for that one?
Yeah, of course, you guys at Ghost Racing Network, and I want to thank my parents for always tuning in, and of course, as always, my NBG teammates. I think the results tend to speak for themselves on how well we run together. So we're just taking it night by night, and there's honestly no one I'd rather run with right now. Them guys are a fantastic group, and I have a lot of fun in there.
Well, it was a fantastic run for you. Fantastic run for NBG. Mr. Cody Nagels, go enjoy it. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
And your race winner tonight, Jason Maines, he will be back here shortly. Told us he had to step away for just a moment. So right before we talk to him, we're going to go ahead and go through your finishing results. Jason Maines did get the win, as we noted. We'll talk to him here just a minute. Cody Nagels finishes second. Sean Hill third. Daniel Eberhard fourth. And the man rounding out the money tonight, Matthew Baker. Ken McCall Jr. finishes sixth. Matt Lee seventh. Andrew Navarro eighth. Jeff Merck ninth. It's going to be John Mullahan rounding out the top 10.
Gabe Butler will finish 11th this evening. Brandon Broadfoot recovers to finish 12th. John Ellis goes 13th. Chris Blanchard in 14th. And Mike Davenport rounds out your top 15. Brock Westmoreland will finish 16th. Chris McCullough 17th. Danny Barnes will finish tonight from 18th position. David Drohan 19th. Round out your top 20 is Garrett Maines.
Ryan Bays finishes 21st. Mark Vondell 22nd. Dylan Jones 23rd. And David Sheets, after that big wreck he had, second big wreck he had, is not going to be able to finish the race. He ends up 24th. All right, I think we got Jason back. Let's go ahead and double check. And sure enough, all right, let's pull him up here to see if we can't get a quick word with your winner tonight. Hey, Jason, this is Austin and Dawson up at the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, the move that you pulled off there at the end, I've seen quite a few of these now since I've been broadcasting, and I can't say I've seen something quite like that. The first block, I thought you were going to get wrecked. Somehow you made it work. The second block, I thought for sure you were getting wrecked. Somehow you still made it work. Tell us about it.
Well, I had so much damage that I was afraid to use the fast repair to fix it. And I had like a minute and 44 seconds I'd fix. So I knew I had to keep the momentum going, and I was committed to Daniel there. And when I saw Cody and them coming, I mean, I didn't really block it. I mean, I just moved up with their run. And at that point, you know, they were going to go around the outside of me, or I was going to, you know, be in the middle. So it was really the only option I had at that point. I knew if I stayed on the bottom, I was going to get buried. So, and it just, like I said, I thought that was my only option. I thought it was a good move myself.
Well, whether it was by design or not, it certainly looked pretty cool on camera. Now we're starting to kind of close down the season here a little bit. We've got a couple races left before we head on to the double points night. You were the champion last season. How are you going to finish this season off to go back to back?
That's going to be tough. I haven't had any good luck. I mean, tonight, it's the same thing. There's a lot of luck in this stuff, and then you got to make your own luck at the end sometimes. And I've been wrecked in a bunch of them, got wrecked tonight and missed the wreck, and, you know, then circumstances after that. But very happy with what it came. I mean, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and hopefully I can get up there.
Certainly was meant to be tonight. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I got to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I want to thank Lennox Industries, Bradley Mechanical, and NCU Bodies for everything they do for Garrett, and look forward to the stuff that we have coming. And other than that, thank you guys for doing the broadcast, and Ron for putting on the race, and my teammates there, Dylan. I got to thank, Garrett. Unfortunately, he got wrecked in Ellis there, but and Daniel, we work together. You work with so many people. I mean, I just went back and looked. You help throughout the race. So appreciate everybody, and look forward to next week.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us. And sure enough, we will see you next week.
Thanks, boss. See you.
All right. Jason Maines got the win tonight. Dawson, I'll tell you what, things got a little sketchy in the middle, but that last run that we had to the finish, and then, of course, the finish was phenomenal. I liked what I saw there at the end tonight from the trucks.
Yeah, absolutely. The trucks never disappoint, and rarely do we have bad finishes when we can go green to the white flag. And these guys they know how to put on a show at the end. And, man, you just can never say enough about that move by Jason Maines. We're going to be going back and looking at that one for a really long time. And then you heard him say it. He hadn't had any good luck. He got some tonight. That's a huge run for him. It's a great win. He's back in victory lane on Tuesday nights. He's coming for another championship.
I like that he still had some swagger about it. Said, yeah, well, I wasn't really going for that, but worked out anyway. So congrats again to Jason Maines here tonight. We will be back next week for some more Tuesday Night Thunder back at Talladega in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Thank you all for tuning in. One more big thank you to Richard Elliott for the $10 super chat. I hope you all did enjoy, and we will see you Thursday. Until then, have a good night.